Okay, so we are solving by factoring still, but now we have a degree greater than 2. So pretty much what that means is we can have more answers. So when your degree is 2, y'all, what that means is the squares. That's your degree, whatever your biggest exponent is. Didn't we have at most 2 answers? So if we have a degree greater than 2 of 3, what do you think the most answers we can have? 3. And that's exactly right. So if you had a 4th root, like if you had a degree of 4, it could be 4 answers, so on and so forth. So these are the options when it comes to solutions. You can have 1 solution. You can have 2 solutions. Or you can have 3 solutions. Okay, do you ever think you'll have no solution? No, not with degrees of 3, because it goes down forever and up forever, so it will always touch the y-axis. At least once. Okay, so steps are still the same thing. Equation must equal 0. Take out your GCF. Make sure it's in order. Factor. Set all factors equal to 0 and solve. Nothing's changed except you're going to have more answers. So if we look at number 1, it says factor and solve the following. Well, first things first, we have to get our equation set equal to 0. What do we want to move here? Why do we want to move the 18 and not the 8? Because we don't want our first term, our highest degree, to be negative. Okay, so now if you have a negative in your first term, you just have to take out a negative GCF. But if there is no GCF, do you really want to have to take out a negative if you don't have to? No. So I just always keep my highest degree positive. So minus 18x on both sides. And this gives me 8x cubed minus 18x equals 0. Okay, so knowing that, does it have a GCF? Yeah, what's my GCF? 2 what? So 8 divided by 2 is 4. And remember, when we're dividing, we subtract. So this is technically 1. 3 minus 1 is 2. Minus 18 divided by 2 is 9. And these x's cancel because 1 minus 1 is 0. Can I continue to factor this? Yeah, it's a perfect square minus a perfect square. So I have 2x. So I'm going to bring that over here. And then what times what gives me 4x squared and what times what gives me 9? That's the same. So 2x and 2x and then 3 and 3. So what do my factors become? Step 4 was factor, and then after we factor, we set all factors equal to 0. So this is a factor, this is a factor, this is a factor. We have to set all of them equal to 0. So we have 2x equals 0, we have 2x minus 3 equals 0, and we have 2x plus 3 equals 0. So first things first, we're going to divide both sides by 2. What's 0 divided by 2?
0.
0. Okay, on this one, I'm going to add 3. 2x equals 3 divided by 2. And this is almost exact, except now I'm subtracting 3. And then we write our answers inside of the braces, the fancy brackets. And do I have a specific order for these brackets?
Yes.
Least to greatest. So negative 3 over 2, comma 0, comma positive 3 over 2. Oop, not 3 over 3. 3 over 2. You should be writing them least to greatest inside your fancy brackets. Okay, look at number 2. So first things first, we have to make sure our equation equals 0. So what do I need to move?
Plus 18.
Yeah, I'm going to add 18x squared to both sides. And where's it going to go? in the middle.
Does it always go in
No. But we have to put it in highest degree to lowest degree order. 3 cube is the highest degree, then squared, then a degree of 1. So that's why it goes there. Do I have a GCF here?
No.
Yes. What's my GCF?
X.
X. Just because there's no a number, you can still have a letter. They all have an X, so I have to take an X out. When I take an X out, it just drops the degree by 1. And now I have to factor. So I know A is 5, B is 18, C is 9. I know A times C goes on top, so what's 5 times 9? Thank you. And B goes on bottom, which is 18. AX goes here, so 5x. AX goes here, so 5x. Never put a squared here unless we're trying to factor something to the 4th power, but we're not there yet, so don't do that, okay? What multiplies to give me 45 and adds to give me 18? 15 times 3. So I have to bring down my GCF. Don't forget your GCF. And 5 over 3, does that simplify? No, so there's a factor. 5x plus 3. And does 5 over 15 simplify? What does it simplify to? 1/3. Okay, bring over your x. Bring over your plus sign. So we get x plus 3. And now we have 3 factors, and now we set them all equal to 0 and solve. So we have x equals 0, we have 5x plus 3 equals 0, and we have x plus 3 equals 0. My 3 factors. So I know 0 is one of my answers. Now 0 is going to be an answer quite a bit because of the problems we're choosing. However, it is not always a 3rd factor, okay? So minus 3, 5x equals negative 3, divided by 5. We get 3/5. Minus 3, x equals negative 3. So I have negative 3, negative 3/5, and 0. Remember, we're writing them least to greatest. Now the last one we're not even going to go all the way through just because it's the same thing. So on this one, just realize it gave you a factor, so you're going to keep that factor. And then you're going to factor by doing the snowflake for this guy. Does that make sense? And you would do the exact same thing. You would set all 3 equal to 0 and solve. Cool?
Yeah.
Okay. One thing I do want to remind you of. Look at the back, which is your practice. If you look like a number 4, technically, yes, it has a GCF of M, but isn't your A1?
Yeah.
So where could you do this problem? You could do, but you could also do the calculator. Could you make your life easy?
Yeah.
Now, what's the important thing to look at before you find your answers in the table? The graph. Why do we want to look at the graph?
To see if it's one solution or two.
We want to see if we're looking for 1 solution, 2 solutions, or 3 solutions. Yes? Because a lot of times y'all will see 1 or 2 of them and you'll be like, oh, those are the answers, and you didn't scroll to look for the 3rd. So just always look at your graph first. Do you think you could do number 5 in the calculator?
Yeah.
Yes, because do either of them have a number in front?
No.
No. Could you do 6 in the calculator?
No.
No, because when you move that over, you don't have A as 1. Does that make sense? Okay, so this is what you're working on. If you have questions, can you ask?
Yes.
Yes.